It's pretty much the eve of the Tour Down Under, and I've got an opportunity to catch up with the new Australian time trial champion, Luke Durbridge. Thanks for coming on and having a chat with Ride Media.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me on, mate.
This is a talking cycling episode, which is to say we talk about cycling. Amazing, I know. But you've just been through quite an interesting beginning of 2019. How did you overcome the world champion in his race of truth?
Well, I was a bit taken back, I guess, personally, by it. I didn't actually think I wasn't racing for second, but, you know, when Rowan's, a minute 20 quicker than the rest of the field at the World Championships last year, you sort of think you are kind of riding for second. I'd had a big road race, and then 2 days later, backed up for the time trial. But, I went out there and had really, really nice legs, and the result is what it is. And when I finished, it was good enough, and I was pretty bloody happy.
Yeah, we can talk about a whole range of topics, but let's just cover the time trial for now. So the road race serves you well, evidently.
Yeah, well, 2012, 2019, yeah, I guess so. Hopefully I don't have to wait another 6 years for it to happen. Yeah.
In a little bit longer, Buninyong will feel like a million years ago. But the memory of it, does it linger for you?
Oh, a little bit. I mean, it is... The time trial's always been chopped and changed. It's been sort of a few different locations, but probably the last 5 years now, it's been on the same course. And so I've started to get to know this course now, and now you start to get a bit attached to this course. Never really liked this course because I hadn't won on this course until now. So, but we can keep it the same now. But I think after the road race, you emptied yourself and didn't really know what to expect. But I definitely didn't hold anything back for the time trial. It's funny when you're fit, your body and everything's running smoothly and you're on a bit of a high, your body can recover really quickly, and yeah, it worked out really well in the end. I like this course because it's really about how you pace it. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've always got wrong on this course. I can kind of get a little bit emotional when I ride TTs. I sort of get out there and hop into it and really go out really hard just because I just want to be aggressive and attack the TT. That's sort of the way I race. And every year I went back the night before and looked through all my comments of the years I've done this TT, and every TT I've done at the Nationals the last 4 years is always like, gone out too hard, blew up. Gone out too hard, blew up. Gone out too hard, blew up. You know, result could have been different, but went out too hard, blew up. So I was like, look, tomorrow I'm just not going to do it. My coach, Ben Day, had sort of sent me through the plan and what we thought we could do, watts-wise. I'm not sure if you use that best bike split before. You can sort of predict what power you would do, and it gives you a bit of an idea of where to put that power out to go as fast as possible. It's an interesting thing, like time trialing, we get a little geeky section here, but say if you put out power on the climb versus the downhill, there's a bigger difference in speed on the climb than there is on the downhill. So if you do 400 watts on the downhill, you might be going 60 k's an hour. If you do 450 watts on the downhill, you might be going 61 or 62 k's an hour. Not a massive difference, only a k an hour. But if you were to do 400 watts on the climb, you might be doing 30 k's an hour. If you do 450 on the climb, you might be going 35 k's an hour or 37. So you really got to put your effort out in the locations that matter. So this sort of program, you can see where you need to put out power to be the best pace over the TT. So you can't really stick to it as much as possible because in the end, you still got to race your bike. You have to sort of look up. There's wind conditions, there's technical sections, all that sort of stuff. But it gives you a rough idea where you should put out your effort.
From a distance, you could say the time trial isn't really a tactical event. You just go out and you go hard and then you go harder.
You think so?
But it is clearly, from your explanation there, it's a real...
Well, I think it's just there's so much technology out now that you can really control everything. And I remember when Mick Rogers did the Olympics, and he ran 4th or 5th in the last Olympics he did. He went out on speed, and they worked out the sections of time that if he went 50 k's an hour to this piece, he would have done this time. And he had someone waiting there giving him the update if he was on his target speed. So there've always been ways of like breaking down the ride, and breaking down pieces of the ride. Because I think in as a whole effort, time trialing can be a bit daunting. Say, for example, you got to go as hard as you can for an hour or an hour plus or 50 minutes. It's a bit like overwhelming. But if you can break it down piece by piece, before you know it, you've arrived at the finish. So that's why I think we do it this way. And this year I actually stuck to it. I rode out conservatively. Got to the turn. I was still in good time check with Rowan, which I think now with my new position I've been working on over the last couple of years, taking some time. But now me riding it just below my max or threshold, I'm holding my own with some of the best TTS in the world. Where before, if I did that, I was just losing too much time because my position probably just wasn't good enough. I was not aero enough to ride at the watts I needed to ride at, and I was just losing too much time. That's probably why I tend to go out so hard, because to hold those guys, I'd have to do a lot more effort. Mm-hmm. So I went out conservatively. As I turned around, then I opened up, and my last 5, 10 and 20 minute powers of the TT were the best in the last piece of the race. So I really came home all the way home, and it was good.
You're given a lot of details, so just give me the numbers for that.
I think it was like the last piece was like, I don't know exactly, but I think the last 5 minutes of the race was, I think it was doing like 450 watts. Okay. So over a 50-minute effort, it's like good to be able to finish it, that final piece there. Yeah.
I visited you and a whole bunch of Michael Hepburn and Caleb Ewan and a few others from what was then Orica Green Edge, when you were in the wind tunnel at Monash.
That's
and
right.
It was a fun day. I learned a lot, and I think you did too. And you experimented with a lot of equipment and a couple of little positional changes. That was probably 2014 or 15. What have you done since then? Have you been back to the wind tunnel, and what adjustments have been made?
I've been back to the tunnel a few times, and also the track. I tend to try and go every year until I'm probably never be happy. But yeah, I tend to go every year. And at the moment, I think we've got a new aero helmet from Scott. They've done a really good job. They've made it so your head, wherever your head is, naturally you want to hold it. If it's down or looking up, it's not as affected. Where before your head was sort of there was sort of the ideal position because it was running through the contour of your back. But if you moved it up and down, the peak would go in and out. And you're seeing that a lot with the trend now with the aero helmets. They're all coming a bit shorter because then you can hold your head wherever you tend to naturally. So yeah, new helmet's been good.
Are your hands coming up?
Hands coming up, yep. That's the trend. Closer to your head, making that one capsule. But Ben's been really good. I mean, Ben's now working with a team with Green Edge, and he came in the tunnel with us last year, and he's got some really good ideas, and the way he puts it out, he brings it back to a normal, realistic sense. Some people in the tunnel can really nerd out, but those positions are just not possible to hold on the road. But Ben has that good sort of ability to test something and then sort of see if that's going to be realistic on the road or not.
Yeah. In the bike trade, in the industry, we hear a lot about, say 10 watts or 20 watts, and there's a lot of marketing hype built around product and what you can save. As a bike rider who's winning national titles and time trials, can you say that X product equates to a savings of X watts?
Nah, I don't think so.
You don't know this.
I don't. There is. It's so individual, Roberts. Every time we go to the tunnel, you might go with 2 or 3 other guys, and my helmet on me might save me 5 watts. That same helmet on Hepburn might save him 15. Just the way his shoulders are, or the way he runs off his back, or the way he holds himself, or vice versa. So, look, there's no one blanket. This helmet saves 50 watts more than that helmet. On one person, it may particularly, but on every single person, it's too much of a... It's pretty difficult to claim. So it's very specific in the tunnel, and there's a lot of different variations, and even tunnel to tunnel. From one Monash to one in Milan or one here, it's the tunnels are not the same at all. So you just have to be consistent with your test in terms of you have to be the same tunnel each time you test something. And don't try and change everything. Just try and change little minute things and then see. Not really go in there and try and test 15 different things, because all the numbers get all jumbled and it's really quite confusing. It's quite an art doing a good wind tunnel session. Trust me, it's spent hours and hours in those things, and look, they're not the funnest days. They're really not. No, they're not fun.
There's a lot of sitting around.
A lot of sitting around, you know. They are not that fun. But if you find some good things, though, they are.
We spoke the first time after you won the Junior Worlds in Russia, and I can't even... That was probably 2009?
Yeah, 2009, yeah.
You've lived up to expectation, and it seems, from the discussions we have, that you still genuinely love cycling.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I'm a big fan. Yeah, I think that's one thing that's also always kept me in good stead, is that I actually am a massive fan of my own sport. I love watching great performances by other riders on the television. You know, I'll watch all the classics that I'm not in, or I'll watch the Giro. I love watching the Giro because that's generally when I'm at altitude training. Bit of a collector of old bikes too, you know, like I like to look at all the equipment side of things. You know, I've bought a time trial bike since I started, every time the model changed. So I've got a bit of a collection now. So
How many bikes?
Probably got, what have I got now? I have my junior under 17 title, Specialised, like this old alloy thing. And then I got my Cervelo P3, which was Junior Worlds, under 23 Geelong. Then I got a HTC Columbia Scott Plasma, which I won the Copenhagen Worlds. Then I got the 2 national titles, original Plasma from Green Edge. And then now we're changing this model here. So look, career's still got time to go. So at the moment I'm running on 5 or 6. So yeah, still some. I just love how you can see from the start till now and how it's gone. And when the P3 came out, that was such a Cervelo P3 was a weapon. And Cancellara won the Olympics on it. It was just an incredible bike. And you thought, where can it go from here? And then now there's not even a cable in sight. Yeah. So, you know, and I'm just curious to see where we will go from here. Like, there's no cables now. What'll be next? Like, I don't know. Who knows? You know, we didn't really expect anything 5 years ago what it would be, but now we're at this point. So,
but if you talk to, for example, you know, to triathletes or people who are wanting to go out and do a club TT, from the lessons you've learned, what would you say that people ought to focus on to improve their time trialling?
I would say it's pretty simple in terms of if you've got the basic backyard setup, you know, your basic 90-degree angle on everything. So your back, your legs, your arms, your forearms, like that sort of 90-degree angles is pretty your basic setup. But I would always go for more power. You know, especially at a club level or social, I would always go to a position that you feel that you can hold for that period of time, and go for more power always. And then when you got to that point where you ride and you're really, really comfortable, minute adjustments, centimetre, half a centimetre, and then just slowly try and get your head closer to your hands. Basic. Try and get your head closer to your hands. And either that's bringing your hands closer to your head, but just try and close that gap between your head and your hands. So either bring your hands up or bring your head down. Simple.
Are you a flexible bloke?
Growing up, no. Maybe I am now. A bit of work. Do a bit of Pilates and stretching and massage constantly, treatment. So yeah, naturally I don't think I am, but I've worked pretty hard to be decently flexible now.
I've watched bike riders in hotel rooms and talked to them while, things are going on. And they're constantly fidgeting and stretching and pulling themselves one way or another. What do you do when you sit in front of the telly?
You stand at just that, the glute stretch, just always trying to open that glute up. Okay. Yeah, that's about it. The time trialling's just changed in completely. Like, the heroes that you grew up watching was like Ulrich, his position was sweet. Cadell, they had that, like, I don't know, like, Cadell obviously tested his position, but it didn't look great. Sorry, Cadell. But he had this straight bars pretty much directly down. Same like Ulrich when he had his Bianchi, and he was like that, and his head was like that. And it looked sick, like looked really powerful, but there's a lot of area here. I'm not sure what's happening. So I love that sort of position. So I get my bars as low as possible and as straight as possible, and just pull on the bars like you're doing some sort of like, pull up or something, but so you could really just reef the bike, put it really low. So now everything's a little bit softer up here. You're not really pulling, you're really locked in core strength wise and things like that. Your hands are just sort of really just softly holding, you're not, But so I would probably look at your hands. I'd probably back then I would probably be trying to break the bars off. Yeah, actually one TT back in under 23, I come across the line and error bars are still attached to my arm. I've just completely pulled it off. So it's this picture. I'm going across the line. I'm just like that. Like there's this error bar next to my arm. So I think that was just because I was just reefing so hard on the bars. So yeah, I don't do that as much anymore.
It's funny that you referenced Cadell. I did an interview with Chris Boardman when Cadell was still racing, and we were talking about, I'd asked him in 2012 who he thought had the best aero position.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know, that's a good question. I can tell you who's got the worst.
Well, it obviously worked. He went fast, for sure. He went fast in the TT, so it obviously worked, but it didn't look fast, but yeah. Big objective this year is for the classics. We're really trying to go really hard for that. And last year with the crash in January, I really suffered. And but this year I'm really back with a vengeance, hopefully. And then after that we can catch up because we'll be focusing for the Tour de France. And then I really want to ride Yorkshire, the World Championships, road race and hopefully time trial. So. Yeah, hopefully there's some good things to come this year, and I'm sure we'll be in touch.
You've brought it up, so I'm going to extend the interview just a little bit longer. But the classics, I know that it means a lot to you.
Yeah.
I know that you've taken great inspiration from guys like Matthew Heyman, and you've seen that it can be done. I'm guessing that it's sort of the Roubaix-Flanders pairing that you like the most, and is that the target? And what can you do to make it all come together?
Well,
in a lottery like those races.
Yeah, then that's it. That's exactly it. They can be a bit of a lottery, but I have seen with Matty it is possible. Last year, on a year before, I was knocking on the door of something. I was top 4 in a couple of the big classics, and then I was 11th or 12th in Flanders. So I was seeing the winning move happen. Well, years before you were dropped before it happened, but now you were seeing what's possible, and yeah, I think you can't sort of say how you're going to do it, but I think what I would like to be back and seeing when the move happens, and I think it's possible. I really do think another year of strength, another year of understanding how these races work, and when I move up there for a month during that Belgian period, and I really try and learn the roads, and having someone like Matt Heyman now also helping out with the team, mentoring and guiding, it's going to be really, really important. And I've grown up loving those races. We all love those races. Come on, they're the best races. So, and I just really feel the passion up there. It's like AFL Grand Final weekend, that whole period. The Belgians just love it and the passion of it, and so I just want to get up there and get involved and, just make the right call at the right time and just go for it.
Live the life you love and love the life you live.
It's the one, mate. That's the one, Just, you got to be in it to win it,
Let's stop with the cliches and say thanks very much for another chat.
Thanks, Rob. Cheers, mate.